Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us and giving us an hour of your time. Hope everybody's doing well. Most of you here have either built products with us, are currently building products with us, and there are a few that we have not had the opportunity to meet yet, and a warm welcome to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for an overwhelming response and support for the webinar. Thank you so much, and it really means a lot. This is the first of hopefully many webinars that we plan to conduct to keep you updated regarding the rapid changes happening in the software industry due to AI. Personally, I've been amazed several times since Feb by the speed at which things are developing. AI has already dramatically changed how software gets built, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of headlines about it. Today, we wanted to show you what's actually happening, or what's actually real, with a live example, which Anup will take us through, what we're doing with AI on live products at Emvigo, and what we don't recommend yet. It is my great pleasure to introduce Anup, CTO of Emvigo, who will take us through today's session.
Hey Sanjay, hi everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
As we go along, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A button or option in the below strip on Zoom to ask us the questions, and I'll try and incorporate them, and we'll try and answer them as we go along. We don't need to wait until the end for the same. Please note your questions are private, so only myself and Anup can see them. And finally, this is the first time that we're doing something like this, so please bear with us if there are any hiccups along the way. Right, let's get started, shall we?
Go ahead, Sanjay.
So this is the, this is what we're going to spend on the next 60 minutes. So the main highlight obviously is a live demo, which is where we'll try and spend most of the time. We'll also talk about where AI is heading right now, the process, which includes the models, the agents, the org memory, which is quite interesting, and of course the Q&A session. And as mentioned earlier, do not wait till the end for the questions. As and when you have questions, you're welcome to send it to us. 2019, some of you on the call here I've met for the first time in 2019. I've probably met you in 2019 again, but it was a different time, wasn't it? It was obviously pre-COVID. A lot of in-person meetings, we had, as compared to what we have right now. But obviously, it was a different time for software as well, the software industry as well, because in 2019, it used to take months to get to a working prototype, isn't it? Tech team, a budget, and a roadmap meeting about a roadmap meeting. It was definitely a different world. Yeah. A couple of years back, 2024, 2025, we're talking about weeks, and using a developer who knows a bit of AI. But today, it's probably an evening with a laptop, possibly a ruined weekend if you get ambitious, right? The cost of a first version is collapsed, which brings me to my next slide, which is the fact that you can prototype yourself. If there are people on the call, which I don't think that there are too many people that would be on the call, but if you didn't know, you can prototype yourself, and that's really not a hype. And there are some tools out there, many tools out there, and we have mentioned some of them over here: Lovable, V0, Replicate Raw, etc., which you can use to prototype yourself. And yes, as it says in the slide, this is something I did approve. It did feel a bit like Turkey is voting for Christmas, but yet here we are. In case you were not aware, we wanted you to hear this from us. Now, Anup is going to take over from here. I'll be taking care of the Q&A part. Anup, you can
just share the screen now. So, what we can see in the tools which Sanjay provided, it's absolutely true. You can actually make some amazing prototypes and validate your product idea in the market as well. It's more than a prototype for sure, right? You can actually put the idea out there in the market and collect information and, how the customers would potentially feel like, is that really solving a problem statement or not? That's something that can definitely be done. But whether that's a product in itself or whether that's a business in itself, that's a question mark that we need to really ask, because where we stand right now is a lot of these half-exposed products are flooding the market, and user trust, the trust of the user, is probably the most scarcest thing that is available in the market. So if we have to do a business out of it, from a prototype to the real product game, we need the product to be distinguished, right? We are in a regime where what Sanjay told, over a weekend, we can actually build the prototype and potentially, test the waters. The question really that we need to ask ourselves is, what is the viability? What's the moat that you're going to build? Because a school grad or a end customer or even a competitor can actually get the same thing done over the weekend, isn't it? So what point is, Sanjay, is if we have to make the trust, get the trust of the customer, whatever that we build has to be our production grade quality. It has to be scalable, has to be secure, because we don't want any of us get beaten back by the compliance issues. And we have seen this multiple times, isn't it? And post AI world, I think for the last 6 months, there's been a plethora of attacks that we see in the news. So that's something which we don't want us to happen. As
world has moved on, as Sanjay told, is earlier it used to be an assistant where we kind of interact. It moved into an agent, and now it became an agentic AI development where we are deploying agents and they self-sufficiently execute the task that give them on your hand. And be it coding or marketing, whatever that might be, right? Whatever that is required from a business angle.
The intention here is to actually deep dive into Agentic AI and the framework that we have set up in Emvigo, so that you can get a glimpse of how that is going to work and how that is potentially going to solve a lot of problems. And bear in mind, this is based on the best practices that we know currently. It is going to evolve. And Sanjay, I strongly believe, as we discussed earlier, this is probably going to be a first of many, of the series that's going to come up, because things are going to dramatically change.
Yeah, the speed at which is currently happening, there's definitely big changes every few weeks, not days, isn't it?
Absolutely. The objective today is to kind of quickly introduce you to the frontier models. So you might have already heard about Claudes and Codexes. The framework that we are actually talking about here is actually applicable to any of the agents or frontier models that is going to use. There are a few new ones coming up like Kimi. I'm going to demo this on Claude because that's something which I'm comfortable with. But the workflow that we show is actually exactly replicatable in any of the models that is going to come up. We're going to deep dive into the agent workflows while we show the demo, Sanjay, because that's probably a better way of utilizing the time. And org memory is probably something which is going to be really, really interesting. I'm not going to deep dive too much on this because there needs to be a separate webinar specifically on org memory. But think of it as like this, right? If AI has to make decisions for us, or if you have better decisions for us, we know a human in the loop is required, but if you need to make better decisions, then the knowledge base has to be assimilated, structured in the right way for AI to understand and consume it in a better way. And when I talk about the knowledge base, it is not just the coding knowledge or the technical knowledge, it has to be the business side of things as well.
So while we hold that thought and get into more details, I want to jump onto the Claude session and walk you through that. Is that okay, Sanjay?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Right. Unfortunately, being a techie for the last 20 years, I'm more of a terminal person, Sanjay, so you'll have to excuse me for that. But the reality is, whatever that you see here is something that is directly replicatable on a Claude desktop or a Codex desktop, whatever that you're going to do, right? I mean, it's not going to dramatically change. But bear in mind, we have done quite a lot of setup to ensure that the system works in the way that we wanted to show you, right? And that's exactly what we are replicating to any of the projects that we are running, within Emvigo. So what you see here on the top right, I've run some pre-scripts so that in the interest of time, we don't wait for it to execute. So I'm going to quickly walk you through that. But while we do, I'm going to start the stage 2 because it's going to take some time, right? So allow me to press in the button on the bottom corner. You can see restart from stage 2. I'll explain the stage 2 part. Okay, don't worry about it. So you're actually going and seeing the live data feeds, which is the folder on which I'm executing. That's where all the coding and the information is already available. We have set up for few of the packages to ensure that the token usage is actually optimized. So that's the reason why you're saying that there's a 91% reduction from reuse. So there's a lot of memory that is already created. It actually goes and lists down all the activities that we have done earlier, right? So kind of keeps that in the memory.
The biggest point that you'll have to understand is that the code
now becomes a conversable plain English information, Sanjay. So you can literally ask questions to the code base, right? let's say I'm asking a provide a background tech stack on the documentations of the project. I've already run this, but the moment it runs it, it comes back and gives me something like this, right? Just gives me an HTML, all the information in one go. So anyone who is joining the new project, whether it's a tech person or a non-tech person, kind of gets a good understanding of what is in there, right? Talks about the technology stack, talks about the workflow that is involved, what is happening, and all the information that we have on hand.
So I'm going to quickly introduce the project that we have on hand, right? I mean, something that we wanted to execute.
Bear in mind, this is not a customer project. This is an internal project of Emvigo. So, there's no proprietary, information that's being supplied, secure all the way, right? So what we are doing in this project is we are scraping data from few different websites within India who actually supplies groceries to the home as well as medical products to home.
The current ecosystem has something called Zepto, which is equivalent to Deliveroo, Uber Eats in the UK. 1mg, I'm not sure, Sanjay, whether there's something equivalent, but 1mg is the place where the medical products are being delivered.
Medicines can be delivered in India.
Right. So what you see on the screen, Sanjay, is the runs that has happened. So there are scheduled runs which kind of takes the data and then put it into our database, right? I mean, they can be failed runs, they can be completed runs, automated runs, manual runs, and it can be runs for Zepto, it can be runs for Tata 1mg. Again, I'm not going to go into much of the detail. This screen is plain blank symbol. There's a list, and on the top of it, there is information about how many is run, completed, failed.
Now, this is not really clickable. You can't really see anything about it. My intention was in the demo, I kind of go and ask AI to kind of say, can we make this clickable in such a way that it automatically filters the data?
I hope that's a effective use case. Again, we can do much more complex items, but then again, we only have 60 minutes on our hand. So that's the intent. And I'll quickly go back to Claude. Team, please bear in mind you can shoot any questions, Sanjay, whenever you time permits. Put the questions on board. You talked about a very interesting point, the auto mode, right? So basically, there are multiple modes. On a shift tab, you can understand that there is a manual, which is fairly straightforward, an accept edit. So anything edited has to be accepted. A plan mode, which is where the real planning happens. I'll walk you through that. And then the auto mode, right? Auto mode means, it doesn't ask you anything. You can actually have a coffee or, take a break. It'll still run on the background. Now, we started with the idea that what is my requirement, right? My requirement is on the runs page header. I want the numbers to be clickable, filtered on the respective data, and the same applicable for the by vendor screen. Selected filter should be highlighted and clear button should be added to clear all the filters of the code. This is a plain text top level requirement that we have, and we have put it into one of the pipelines that we have fine-tuned for execution, right? I'll walk you through the pipeline. That's what you see as SDLC, pipeline. The stage 0 is to check whether everything is ready. Is AI ready? Is all my components ready? Everything ready? And that's something that we look. You can also see a few names which are things like GStack, Superpowers. These are open source repositories that we have consumed and take it forward. The next stage 0, is something to classify, because it is important to know that some might be a feature, some might be a bug fix. So the execution has that opportunity to kind of say, is this really a bug fix or not? And bear in mind, this is a feature, right? So I've selected the features already. You can see that I've selected a feature. In the interest of time, I've selected TDD and unit test coverage as nil. But bear in mind, in our production ecosystem, when we develop real projects, we actually say yes to both. So essentially, that means all the test cases gets executed automatically, all the test cases gets created automatically. And that's the point, right? We want humans to be involved when decisions need to be taken, when edge cases needs to be evaluated, and that's thinking power is what we need to supply. The rest is something that can be done, from the edge. So next stage is obviously planning, right, Sanjay? I'll quickly jump back to the slide because that's exactly what we are trying to show here.
I don't think, over the last 20-25 years, the process of software development has changed dramatically, right? I mean, you have a defined design, build, verify, and ship. what has changed dramatically is there are certain things that can be automated and there are certain things that can't be. The yellow walk ones is something that you need to pay attention to, because we strongly believe humans needs to be involved to make those decisions in the right way so that AI can execute. And bear in mind, some of the decisions gets recorded automatically so that in the subsequent run, they do understand and take it forward. And that's the primary purpose. We don't put direct AI code to production. There would be a senior developer reviewing it before the PR is merged and deployed to the market. But there are rest of the agents is something that we can actually go ahead and automate. You see plethora of agents here, more than 10, right? I mean, the architecture, the database, the integration, the coding agent, the bug fixing agent, unit testing, and much more. And bear in mind, it automatically generates the docs as well, so that the memory is kept on updated.
On that note, before we switch, one of the questions that we've had is, how do you know when AI is genuinely helping your business versus just making your team feel more productive?
I think it really depends upon what you want to ship, right? I mean, this is more of a business question rather than a technical productivity question. I would rather believe that if you want to be on the market prior to your competitors and still make a mark, the objective is to, make the team more productive and, improve the outcomes quickly. That alone is not the case, right? I mean, I think my primary point to this, as always, that we talk about, right, Sanjay, is not about the speed alone. It's about making sure the humans think thoroughly about the edge cases so that we don't end up having surprises after we go to production. Because we get more thinking power right now, we get more thinking time right now to kind of do it in the right way. And that's the mantra that we need to, ensure that the team adheres.
That last one actually ties in with another question that we had. If AI makes prototyping so easy for everyone, do you think execution is now a bigger competitive advantage than simply having an idea? So it's also in terms of the knowledge that you have, in terms of the domain/market knowledge, business knowledge that you have, that's probably a differentiator, isn't it?
Absolutely right. I mean, I think there was a amazing report that came out from Anthropic a couple of months ago, where they said, more than technical people, business people use cloud sessions far more better, or the completion percentage was higher. And that's quite true, isn't it? Because I'm not denying that there needs to be technical knowledge around the way, but I think business knowledge will stand out. And that's exactly the reason why that we have taken a lot of initiatives within Emvigo to ensure our team is adhering and understanding the business needs of the market. I'll quickly jump back onto the screen. So the stage one was to kind of, plan. Now, bear in mind, it just doesn't plan, right? I mean, it is a place where in which more than different agents kind of communicate each other and verify if it is doing okay. So the moment the plan is done, it kind of divides and parallelly run 3 agents. One is the engineering review. This is more from an architecture, what kind of scenarios that we have set for that particular project. A design review, since this involves a UI change, it actually evaluates from a design part, and a CEO review, which is more from a business angle and a compliance angle if whatever that we're doing is breaking anything on the go. So that's the reason why I said, Sanjay, the org memory and ensuring that all the information is available for AI is probably the most crucial element on the game. Because unless and until that happens, the CEO reviewer is probably not going to catch what you really want to catch, right?
I mean, when we discussed about org memory, I remember a question that I asked you in terms of how much do we reveal? It's not a question that's come from the attendees, but it's something that I had for you, which probably
which is evolving quite rapidly right now, right? I mean, Satya Nadella spoke about, the Microsoft CEO talked about in the early 2000s, we talked about big companies having CRM at the core, and now it will be some kind of an LLM with org memory, who will be at the core of it. Now, how you want to protect it, that becomes a different ball game. You probably wanted to deploy your own LLM in your own server or whatnot. That will be a question of execution on how that will be executed. But in reality, the core of every business will now become an org memory in itself. And that's something which we're going to see in the coming months for sure. Let me move on. So on the stage 2, it kind of on the CEO review, it came out with a couple of questions, a very good, interesting questions. It asked me that The total title shows all the run count. Should that be clickable too? Because it's already showing that. And I said, yes, show all reset. And when a clear is pressed, which filter should it wipe? The search box already or the header filters? I said the header filters alone, because if you remember back to the screen, there is a search here. So the question was on the clear, should that be removed or not? This is exactly what I'm trying to say, right? I mean, all the edge cases in terms of what potentially can go wrong or good, this is a conversation that we're probably going to have. And that's probably ensuring that our quality of the product or what we're going to do is going to dramatically improve. So it's not just about the speed. It is also about getting the right things. So I answered that and it changed the plan. And it said, CEO is approved, and it created a plan for me. In the interest of time, I'm not going to go line by line, but I'm going to specifically say about the task. So as you can see, it is divided into various different tasks, and each task gets executed, in its iteration. And on the last task, it actually said production mode smoke test. I wanted to replace that, and I said that, hey, on task 8, before the smoke test, make it available in my local system so that I can show you the output, right? This is my local server, forget about the port numbers or whatnot, but I'm going to deploy this or requested AI to ensure that it gets deployed onto the system. Now it updated me the plan again. And I honestly, before we started, I accidentally proceeded to the next step. Apologies on that, but I did stop and I re-asked to rerun it again. So it stopped and I restarted from stage 2. This is where the stage 2 is, where the writing parts really happen. So now the execution is actually hopefully started. It started. It says everything is okay. It actually went ahead and did a design review, which was not done earlier. So that's quite interesting, because I thought design review was completed, but it didn't. So it is actually running again. I'm going to press Control B and mark it as a go. Control B just means it is running on the background, Sanjay.
Okay.
So you can see that the few points that I wanted to make sure that we understand. One is the one which is highlighted here. It is the repo branch that we work on. Typically in IT, software industry, we kind of work in different branches so that more than one people can run in parallel, or more than one agent can run in parallel, right? So the idea is that we will essentially have 3 or 4 agents running in parallel. So each features will be created in separate repos. What you see, Opus 4.8 is the model that we use. We can switch models in our process. When the coding really starts, it kind of switches to a cheaper model. So essentially, the token utilization are getting done in the right way. So now it says your design is approved, all the reviews are approved, and then it says go ahead and build. And I say, hey, go ahead and build, right? And since it is on auto mode, it goes and executes it. Bear in mind, there still needs to be a decisions on the human. It actually stops and asks for that question, and that's quite important, right? Because we don't want AI to run its course and burn a lot of tokens and come back with something that we don't want, as well. So that's one of the reasons why all these gates are kept in the right way.
Anup, anything more that you want to add with respect to tokens, the token usage? Because that's probably a couple of questions that I've got is regarding that, and also obviously the models used. You can see
right.
Opus 4.8.
So the models, from a cloud angle, I typically recommend a better model like Opus to kind of do the planning phase. But when it comes to the coding, I think Sonnet is probably really good enough. A Sonnet Medium does coding really, really well, whatever the tech stack is all about. So in our agents, we can actually set it up in such a way that certain agents, coding agents, moves into a cheaper model and whatnot. Bear in mind there are other models that are coming up quite heavily. Kimi is doing really well. It really challenge close on its benchmarks in terms of coding. So there are more ones coming up as we go along. On token part, we briefly touched base on this, to be honest. So it really depends upon how your context is set and how your project setup is done. If you do it in the right way, there are some questions which can be answered within the local memory, and it does not call the Claude or any of these models as an API, and essentially zero token usage happens at that point in time. So these are really scenarios that we need to fine tune and ensure it's set up in the right way so that we use them effectively.
And are we waiting for Claude, or are we? Because I have a question to that.
Right. I just want to quickly talk about that. There were 6 or 7 tasks. The task 1 is actually done, and it has moved into task 2, and that's something that you can see as we go along. I'll keep the screen here so that we kind of keep on understanding. If the team has any questions, we can fire as well.
Sure. So the question that I have is, do you human verify on code level? That's a question that we have.
Yes, we do. Because end of the day, if something happens in production, if there is a security breach, if there is a loss of business, if there is an impact to real users, who will be responsible for it? Don't think Claude is going to take that, right? It's going to be us. So as of now, the practice is, so one of the reasons why we say that we have a planning phase where we actually say bug fixes and feature fixes is actually that as well. Because if we classify certain bug fixes as a very low key, then we can push them to production without someone evaluating it. But typical features, we would definitely recommend a code review done, evaluations being done. I mean, a human can use AI to kind of ask the right questions, evaluate them, and take it forward. And bear in mind, I want to quickly show you on that note a very important piece of the puzzle. If let's say, as a human, we identified something and say that, this is something that we wanted to change, it actually gets recorded as a ADR record, architecture decision record, and it gets embedded into the memory so that next time it actually takes it forward in the right way. In my previous run, you could see here is stage 2.7 is actually no architecture because we're changing something simple, Sanjay, so there's no architecture decision. But think a complex one potentially will have an architecture decision, and we'll adopt through, and it gets recorded.
Right.
Any further questions?
So I would think that I think on the same lines, I think there was a question regarding the tech debt as well as the architectural consistency. But I'm guessing it's in terms of the architectural consistency, code quality. Basically, the checks that we do, will ensure that the human checks that we do, the human in the loop, will ensure that
it's not just about the human checks, Sanjay. So I think the review part is something that AI is really good at. Right? Because if you look at our list of agents that we have, there is a coding agent, there is a code review agent as well, isn't it? So we have, with all the best practices that we know and we have collated over the years and best practices from the industry, we have created this agent which is already having this information on the table. And it is not just about the best practices of the industry, it is also about the best practices that is specifically recommended for the project on hand. Right? So we fine-tune that, every layer of these agents for the particular project, and then every time a coding is done, it is tested again as that. Now, I do agree, Sanjay, that at some point in time there might be a miss, and we find out something human. Our intent is to update, the review agent next time so that it fixes it. Right? So the intention is for humans, our thinking power should be to find something new, rather than finding the same thing again and again. The best use of our time, isn't it?
On this slide, we have a question that we have 4 human gates, and which one catches the most AI mistakes in practice?
I think for what I believe, predominantly this is on the coding side. Hopefully we'll get something while we run, so I'm gonna look through that. I think the feature intent is quite, probably say this is 1, 2, and 3. Design really depends upon how complex the designs are. If if it's a internal tool and we do have a good repository in terms of the structure that we wanted to do, design approval generally does well and it does not come up with errors. Feature intent, it really depends upon the amount of business knowledge that you impart to AI, right? So that's where majority of time they go wrong. So I would rather say the first part. On the human review, we've definitely seen security/architecture issues. Even if we have actually fine-tuned certain architecture decisions, it does go rogue some point in time. So that's one of the reasons why we always keep that human review in the loop, and we can't really trust 100% whatever they run is run in the right way.
Hold that thought. This additional question based on the same point. Given scale and speed of code development, how practical / how much time will end up in human review?
I mean, with the limited equations that we have on hand, I think I'll take this example of a couple of projects that we run, Sanjay. I've definitely seen if the requirements are 100% clear, we get round about 70% or more productivity improvement in terms of code. The reason why is we don't get into surprises. The mentality of the team is to kind of evaluate all the edge cases upfront. So what has happened right now is in a sprint, which used to happen, let's say a 10-day sprint, we typically start seeing second day people started coding in the good old days. Now I don't do that, right? I see that day 1, day 2, or probably even day 3 end up in planning phase where they iron out all the edge cases, iterate through them, and the moment all the edge cases are done, bang, the execution starts. And if you're really well and have a good system, we can actually run more than one agent in parallel as well.
Thank you.
I hope that answers.
If you have any further questions based on what Anup has just mentioned, please feel free to.
So good news is we are on task 5, Sanjay, and we still have.
How are you doing for time, Anup? 35 minutes.
We are on 26 minutes to go, right? So I'm hoping. See, bear in mind, the timing can slightly vary. Potentially, during our dry runs, we did see that, right, Sanjay? That's one of the reasons why this is a live demo, right? I mean, I'm not cooking anything up, right? This is something that is running directly. So hopefully, it finishes. For what it looks like, it seems going in the right direction. Probably in about 10 minutes, we should have something to test, I hope. If not, then we'll intervene and ask it to deploy what it has.
Cool. In that case, let's take another question. How do you decide whether a workflow should use a single agent architecture versus multiple collaborating agents?
I would always say, if it's a prototype, a single agent is good enough, and that's what you get in Lovable or Replets or whatever. But if you're looking for production grade, I would definitely recommend multi. Because at the end of the day, that's exactly the power of it, isn't it? I mean, agents asking each other about potentially improving and recording the improvement so that we kind of able to utilize it next time without relearning it again and again.
Who owns the organizational memory? The engineering team, the product managers, or business stakeholders?
All, isn't it? I mean, I think Sanjay. I mean, what's really happened, or at least my thought process is going this way, is that the distinction between the product team, the engineering team, the business team, the line is actually fading away, and it has to be that the entire team has to coexist together. With Rexp and the product development that we are doing, that's exactly what we see, Sanjay. I mean, the team is actually quite cohesive and not just talking about tech, also talking about business and evaluating whether that decision on business is the right decision or not. And that's exactly how it should be. So I think that lines are getting much more blurry, especially for early stage, organization.
Do we have time for another question, or it's still?
Go ahead. It's still running. So
still manifesting. It all comes up with all these fancy words that it's like. Do we need to start from the architect stage again if we are in the same session? ? And if it's a different session, should we start from the architect stage? That's the.
I did not really get the question correctly. To put the maybe I'll rephrase that question to say if you're running multiple agents in parallel, there are facilities again, I'm not going to show it here, but there are availability facilities into Claude to kind of say you can branch as a tree and then come back and join together as well. And it kind of shares the context in one way between the sessions. That is a possibility. If you're doing this in, independently, let's say 3 different modules independent to each other, then I would definitely recommend that to rerun right from beginning so that it makes the conversation.
Cool. Thank you. And have you ever completely rejected an AI-generated solution because it was technically correct but operationally risky? Interesting question.
I think there has been. We have definitely seen few, security lapses along the way. It is not about AI is bad. It is about how good our agents are, right? So even though especially with security, this is something which keeps on changing over the days, and there's been multiple new scenarios that pops up every time. So it is important to note that when you code with AI, don't just assume that AI is covering all the security for you. It is our responsibility to evaluate. So all these cross certifications and your security testing is absolutely required. In a couple of our projects, we have already automated some of the security testing. Now, bear in mind the intent is do that shift left, right, Sanjay? Because the moment it codes, if it tests what we know as early as possible, the likelihood chance of us having a problem dramatically reduces. What I'm hoping to see today is one of the small security challenges that I've seen in some of these developments. So hold that question. Hopefully, I can show something once the build is complete.
Okay, I've got a few more questions now coming in, which is good. So when you prompt, do you direct the agent to orchestrate and fan out agents, allowing the main context window to stay live, and so cheaper models can do the grunt work?
Yeah, so this is already reconfigured, pre-configured into say what agents use which models, and there are certain items that can be fanned out to run in parallel. There are certain items that can't be run in parallel, and we have designed the multi-agent in such a way that whatever can run in parallel runs in parallel.
Thank you.
Bear in mind, just wanted to quickly touch base to say that we are on task 6 right now on the screen, and every time a task gets done, it actually goes and verifies whether the task is properly done or not. So there is a internal verification done, and that's the reason why you start seeing 26 out of 26 green, or the various different values that comes up in that.
I think these checks and balances are quite important, isn't it? So too, because combining a few questions, where we have seen AI, kind of trying to take us down the wrong path. A few questions, 3 questions actually. Probably an example is a project that we spoke about where the estimation for the app modernization.
To be really honest with you, it's more about we overestimating what AI can do, isn't it? Rather than the challenge of AI itself. I think the point is the example that you mentioned is about a project that we took probably 3, 4, 5 months ago. Before this agentic AI development, I must say.
Yeah, actually last year,
It was last year, isn't it? So we kind of overestimated from the fact that there was an app modernization. We wanted to upgrade certain versions to reduce the tech debt, and we thought Cursor at that point in time could dramatically help us and get it done. We thought it can be done in a couple of weeks. It ended up getting done for around 3-4 months. But then that's probably not the AI, but in terms of how in depth we went and evaluated and asked the right questions. So if you're in face value, if they come up and say, because I think it's a very important point to make, Sanjay, is what AI right now is, it is always confident, whether it says right or wrong, isn't it? So it can give you an amazing, wrong, confident answer, and if you're not good enough to recheck it, you might end up making a wrong decision. I hope that answers.
Yes, thank you. And then, can AI distinguish between historical decisions and current policy, or does it treat both equally?
they can be ranked. So that's the whole org memory, equation. We'll hopefully have a separate seminar altogether. I'm cooking something up internally and for external use. You're right, absolutely, that if the information becomes stale, there needs to be equations on the table to ensure that AI is made aware that it is stale, right? So that loop needs to happen. It is all about ensuring that the right decisions, when it is made, it's been made aware, and stale informations are kept. Obviously, historical informations are required, because if someone comes back and wants to understand about how this entire ecosystem evolved over the years, there needs to be history about it. We can potentially create a podcast with it in Notebook LM. But the point is, AI should be made aware of what is stale, so that current decisions has to be on the latest policy documents or latest decisions that we have made.
Since it's still running, can we take another couple of questions?
Yeah, go ahead. I think we are on potentially the last few bits, to be really honest. We still have 16 minutes to go. So pop in all your questions.
Impact of skills on you SDLC. I'm guessing it means on your SDLC.
Impact of skills. Skills are so agents work on top of skills, and skills are something which we fine tune.
Okay, and then there's another question. Can you please tell us about some of your products that are wipe coded and are doing well on the market? Where
proprietary information at this stage. Don't really want to reveal. For Rexp, this is a fintech product that we are currently working. This is a product that has been targeted for Indian market. It is a growth platform for small and medium businesses, and we are yet to launch. Something that we expect in the next couple of months to have our beta launch happen. And we have embraced the new age of development in absolutely core to what we do there.
I think from day one, Anup, that's what you've been doing, isn't it? Because I remember the conversations where you talk about how it takes 3 days, 4 days to...
Right. We did not start with Agentic AI on day one, Sanjay. We did use the planning mode in the right way. But in the last couple of months, we have moved 100% into Agentic AI.
Cool.
And some of the learnings that I have and what we discussed here is on that background.
You list security, scalability, compliance, and monitoring as differentiators. Which of these do you think AI is currently weakest at, and why?
I believe it is security. I think security is probably having multiple realms of the table. So I think that's a good point, right, Sanjay? Because when you talk about security, it is not just about the code. Right? It is about who has the right access, where it is deployed, is the deployed environment secure enough. So many times what happens is we ask AI to make security decisions by just exposing the code. And it is only 20% of security exposure that can happen, right? So that's one of the reasons why in all the projects that you recommend to have, Terraforms and, code as a infrastructure as code, essentially bringing AI onto the table to kind of do it in the right way. I think it is not that AI is bad there, but many times what I've seen is that we don't expose all the information in the right way to AI to make the right decision.
Right. I've got a question from an anonymous attendee. This is probably for you and the tech team. Has AI changed how you estimate software projects? Or do estimates remain just as uncertain?
If estimates is always uncertain, because that's future, right? It's obviously the future, right? If we knew, I was actually watching Dune, the movie the other day, and it actually talks about, if future was certain, what is the point in having a life, right? So the future is definitely uncertain. All our estimates are uncertain, but we have definitely reevaluated the process of estimates by bringing in the right tools, and we have changed the values that we give to customers. It's not possibly we won't survive without it, isn't it, Sanjay?
True. I think the next stage is started, code reveal, or
It has started deploying. So what I've done, so you remember on task 8, I made a change that, whilst they do the background checks, I asked them to deploy, right? So
Right.
the deployment is actually happening. I'm going to double check whether, Docker Compose is happening, which essentially means the build is happening, right? So hopefully you'll see.
Okay.
So in this session, we burned 88.3 tokens, 88.3K tokens.
Is
I hope that's the
there
overall
any kind of, or is it different for different models where can you say 88K tokens means X dollars or X pounds? Is there something
I think
some sort of correlation there?
different organizations does it differently, Sanjay, and that's something that we need to keep a tab on. So what Claude does is, Claude has various different plan levels. The entry level plan, what they do is that they have a limit of tokens that you can use per day, and at the moment that hits, it says stop, right? Unlike Cursor, which kind of charges you, wherever and whatever that we want it, at least Claude kind of stops there and, takes it forward. So if you really ask about the price, there are pricing available. That's something that we can, put it on the show notes after and send that across to all the audience.
Right. But 10 minutes left.
You can see the security review has, approved. You can see SQL fully parameterized, which is typically the SQL injection area. So that's something that is evaluated. So the basics are getting evaluated, and seems that it says that the new build is up and running. It actually says the rest of the stages are completed. So let's go and check whether it's okay. With the finger cross time, right? All right. So I'm back on the screen. I'm gonna refresh to see all is okay. You can see that on the border there is a selection. That essentially means you're actually seeing the entire data. If I put completed, it automatically filtered, and I can only see the completed.
Right.
If I mark failed, it takes me only on the failed. I hope this is also clickable. And if I click data 1mg, it shows the data 1mg alone, the failed one alone.
Click the clear filters.
So it clears, it goes back to the one. Now,
I remember when we did a dry run, that was something which didn't work properly, isn't it?
now we talked about, we want to catch a problem which is going to go, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna hopefully say this. So you remember, Sanjay, in the past, we talked about being someone whoever is there in the technical world. I mean, I think there are typically two ways to interact with a web platform. One is a get and one is a post. Typically, what we always recommend is post is much more secure because you are not exposing quite a lot of that. Now, you see this here. Whenever I filter, the URL changes, right? So what if I, say, let's say one, what will happen? It still goes back to the other one, but it still gives you a wrong URL. So on an ideal scenario, Sanjay, I mean, if our system has to have done better, I should have actually told them specifically that I don't want a get parameters on the filter. It had it to be a post, and it was not captured by AI on its own. Now that I've captured, I can tell back to AI, see, all the filters to the future should have been done on post, and then it records and moves forward.
Got it.
I hope that's one of the catch. There might be multiple catches, but that's definitely one I believe is a good one to market.
Good. While you were doing the question that popped up was, so Anup, the changes you're making right now, are they being developed entirely with AI and then reviewed by your team? If so, how do you ensure the final implementation is correct, scalable, and production ready?
So that the point is all about the testing part, right? So when I said, shift left scenarios, in Rexp, in some of the projects that we do, we even do load testing during the development stage. All the singular modules is load tested there and then, so that developers are aware there is a problem and that they fix it on the sprint itself rather than towards the end, right? So it is, the objective, the overall equation is not dramatically changing. What we used to do in the past in terms of making sure the product is scalable, secure, needs to be done now. The advantage that we have is if we do it in the right way, we could shift left quite a lot during the development stage. So essentially, we don't end up having surprises when it goes long. And that's the reason why, Sanjay, I always come back and tell you, it is not about squeezing time. It is about improving the quality of the development product that we have, so that it probably I'm not saying that the timelines won't be squeezed, timelines will be squeezed, but the emphasis should be on the fact that if you have the right team with AI, we're going to get a production grade, zero production issue product out there in the market where we can actually win the heart and the trust of the customer.
Got it. We've got 5 minutes left. So if you have any further questions, I've got a couple more questions which I can ask.
So the fingers crossed did work out, Sanjay.
I know. Honestly, we have had 3 dry runs, and this is the first time, and you've chosen the right time to ensure it finished on time. So well done to that. Thanks, Anup. Does AI give smaller companies an advantage over large competitors, or do larger companies benefit even more because of their data and resources?
I'll say this 2 ways.
Or the third option, does it close the gap, or does it bridge the gap? It brings it closer.
Great question, to be honest. My view of this is, I think what always has been the advantage of early stage startups is it can embrace change dramatically quickly, right? Unlike larger organizations. Isn't that true anywhere and everywhere? And that's going to be amplified, with the use of AI. Right, so we can actually get to market quicker, we can test things quicker, we can fail quicker and then adapt, repurpose or pivot and still make the product successful. That's always a challenge. I've been privileged enough to talk to one of the senior persons in IBM today morning, and they are running workshops to all of their members around about AI. And the adoption is still just gaining pace. So the larger the team, the larger the problem in terms of adoption and adaptation. So the problem remains the same. I mean, it's not just the AI, it's all about unifying the knowledge in one go and making sure, I think people who brings those structure better will essentially, leap forward in the industry, whether it's small or big.
Cool. Right, we are almost at the end. Hopefully this was an informative and useful session for all. We can wait for a couple of minutes for any more questions, but I just want to take the opportunity.
Sanjay, what's our idea about getting feedbacks from? So we'll hopefully send out a quick email after asking for feedbacks. Love to hear. I know there are questions that has come out, but if there are any feedbacks, both in terms of the orientation and the topic and the structures in which we have done, please feel free to reach out to us. We consistently want to improve, based on your feedback.
So we will, obviously, as you can see, the session is recorded. So we'll send a recording to everyone. Obviously, there are a few, who reached out to us saying they're currently on a customer meeting or traveling, etc., and could not join. So we'll send that along with, a feedback, or would really help us if you gave us your honest feedback. And I also, while we wait for if there are any more questions, I just wanted to thank, first of all, everybody who joined for the encouragement. There are a couple of people who messaged us before we start in the Q&A box saying good luck. So you know who you are, and thank you for that. Thank you for your encouragement. And also the team internally, obviously, Anup, thanks to you and your tech team for putting this together. The marketing team, sales team, everybody who helped us, first of all, kind of propagate the news, put it out there, get people joining. We have had over 100 people join us, which is great. We never thought we'll get to that number for the first one. So just wanted to thank everyone, internally as well as
I just want to thank you, Sanjay. I just want to add to thank you, Sanjay, because I think you've been the one who's been pushing us. I mean, there have been more than one dry runs to kind of improve, what we did.
3.5, because we had one about an hour before, isn't it? So,
right. I mean, all that paid off, I hope.
Just
on the last point, so we do at the end, you can see that there is a doc writer. It kind of registers what we have done in such a way that this information is available for the future. So whatever, I think that's nicely takes to the next session. Hopefully on the org memory stage, I'll prepare my best, and then we can hopefully have all the audience that we have today and more in the subsequent ones to come.
Sure. Got a few comments saying thank you both for the great insight. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. Thanks, Anu, great primer session. So, once again, thank you for joining us for an hour, and I hope to see all of you again in a few weeks or a couple of months' time when we plan the next session. Thanks once again. Cheers. Bye bye.
Cheers. Have a good day. Bye.
Have a good rest of the day. Bye.